So my first question is usually, well, thank you, and tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, well, so my name is Martin. I'm from the Netherlands, 41 years old. And well, I'm a marketeer, and I'm a B leader. So I'm helping companies in becoming a B Corp. And B Corp, I don't know if you know it, but it's it's a holistic certification for companies that really want to leave a positive impact on their stakeholders. So not only their shareholders, but also stakeholders. And that's what I do in normal life. And recently I'm one of the founders of a movement that we call Sock by Sock. And with Sock by Sock, we try to we try to make people aware that there's a huge problem in the fashion industry, and that's called overproduction. So there's a lot of garments being produced worldwide, and well, the estimates vary a bit, but at least 30% and probably more of the socks that are being produced, they actually are ending up in a landfill or in the incinerator. So, and without ever being used. So they are actually produced without any use. So there's only just a huge drain on resources of Earth and of energy and of human labor. And well, it's so pointless, and we just want to start this movement to make people aware. We want to start this movement by showing people that you can be more sustainable with your own sock wardrobe, your own sock drawer at home, just by not seeing them as a pair, but to use them individually. And because actually, what the fashion industry is doing on a global scale, very big. We're also doing at home. At least a lot of people are doing it at home. And there's what you get your socks in pairs. You get two socks, and most people tend to wear them in pairs, which is, I think, logical because you also receive them in pairs. But then if one sock is lost, which sometimes happens because we believe there's a monster in every washing machine that sometimes eats a sock. But if one sock is damaged, so you can't wear it anymore, then most people automatically also don't wear the other sock anymore. But actually, that's a little bit strange because the sock actually, even though its partner is lost or is damaged, the sock itself works perfectly. So yeah, that's what happens at your home, and actually the industry is doing the same. They don't recognize the value of that single sock. And if you do it at home and you start wearing your socks individually, then you'll see that you get more usage, more miles or more steps out of each sock you own. So you don't have to buy as many socks. And that principles we try to connect to also to make people aware that, well, what is happening in your own home is actually happening in the fashion industry, and that's something we need to stop because it's a slap in the face for all resources on Earth to make something and just burn it because somehow you can't sell it. So, and it's called sock. Yeah.
Very good. It's interesting because it turns out that a lot of that fabric that those clothes that are laying in deserts and stuff like that is also unused. So I think you really called on something good here. And I also like that it's socks because it's kind of funny as well. Because people are like, you're supposed to be together, but you can also wear one.
Yeah. The funny thing is somehow we get taught that socks always need to come in pairs. Mm-hmm. Because of course shops right now are selling them in pairs, but actually they are individual things. You got 2 feet. Yeah. And as a sock, if you only have one sock, you put it on your foot, and you have another sock, you put it on another foot. It still works the same. You still have warm feet. So,
what is the reaction you get from people? Because I think when I think about like my parents and stuff like that, they usually said you look untidy when you wear 2 different socks. Because I used to do that because I was a cheap student. Yeah. And then you get a lot of people like, your socks don't match and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so but how do people respond?
Well, people respond. Most people are like, "Wow, that's like a blind side I've had. I didn't realize I'm doing it. I'm doing the same." So until I found out about this industry problem, I also had this basket in my home with single socks. And then when I lost the other sock, I just threw them in the basket of single socks. And then once in a while, that I threw away that basket because, well, we lost the other sock. So a lot of people recognize, actually, let's say, the problem of the single socks. Most people have single socks in their home, and but if you make people aware that, hey, well, if you just mix and match your socks and wear them individually, not as pairs anymore, you get more out of your sock collection. It's like, wow, that's actually I never thought of it, but that's makes sense. And the funny thing is, because what we are trying to do is we want to start a movement so that a lot of people are talking about this issue and with socks and also about the overproduction in the industry. If you wear two different socks, just what you said, some people will say to you, "Hey, I see you're wearing two different socks. That's odd, or that's funny, or not tidy." But then there's actually an opening for a discussion about the industry problems. So if somebody points out to you, say, "Hey, you're wearing two different socks," you say, "Well, yeah, I know. I'm doing that on purpose because I want to make more miles out of my sock collection. That's why I'm wearing my socks separately or individually. And actually, you should do the same, because did you know that a lot of socks actually end up on the..." And then you can tell the story I just told, and then actually everybody who is like joining our, let's say, revolution, actually also becomes a little bit of a advocate for our cause, because
that's very smart.
Yeah, people tend to ask why you are wearing two different socks, and then you can tell the story. And like I think, like with most problems in the world, if you don't know there's a problem, then you won't solve it. So raising awareness on issues, I think, is always becoming aware of that there is an issue, or raising awareness is a first step into solving a problem. So that's the name of our game, raising awareness.
I think what you say also connects a bit with like the thing with habits. Like people have habits. That's what you also see in the quilting world. Like people just buy fabrics because they think it's supposed to be like that. And I try to show them that they don't have to. You can also use what you have. And most people don't really want to be more sustainable, but they just don't know how. So I think that is a powerful thing you're doing here. I'm really picturing social media campaigns that people have, instead of a profile picture, they have like a picture of 2 feet with different socks and stuff like that.
That's my ideal world.
No, and it's also a little bit funny. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but I like that it's a little bit funny.
I think
it makes some likeness to the
but I'm a little bit sick of just normally when you a lot of times when we're talking about sustainable issues and raising awareness, and that there are practices which are not good for the world, a lot of people tend to point fingers, say, "Oh, it's bad, it's not good." And I get a little bit tired also of always hearing that I'm doing things bad and the world is going to end, and all very harsh stories. And I think with making it also a little bit more easy and a little bit more, well, let's say, fun also, we just also try to look at things on a little bit more on the bright side. I think that the message is more easy to swallow, and I think most of the times that's also more effective than just only pointing fingers, because people a harsh message and a tough messages, people get numb, and well, just they turn the other cheek and say, "Okay, well, I know there's some issues in the world, but I don't always want to listen to all those horrible stories." And if you wrap it a little bit more in a positive vibe, it's more easy to swallow.
I think that's really true, because you see that there's lots of depressing things happening in the world. So if you really add things, people don't want to listen. They are looking for something fun.
And of course, I think well, you need to live your life, right? So you can't just take all the misery of the world on your shoulders. Nobody can take it. So yeah, in our example, we're not asking that much from you. Just take a look at your socks, and if you start wearing them individually, it's an easy fix. It's a little bit fun. It's also less dull if you wear two different socks. So it's easy, and of course we hope that if you apply. If you break that habit and apply that vision on, well, I should get more out of the stuff I already own. Of course, you can also apply to other garments or household items, and then that's also just a small step into a more sustainable lifestyle for yourself. Just realizing, hey, wow, I shouldn't just throw everything away if it's not good for the thing I'm used to. What I learned, where it is for, use it for something else, or try to patch it up and make it upcycle it, or just make another use out of it. So it's small steps, right? So big steps already.
Yeah, I think we need a lot of small steps from a lot of people. Like, what's concretely how people can join your movement if they like? I wanna be part of this. What can they do?
Yeah. So what can they do? I think well, there's two things. So we also the best thing you can do actually is start by wearing your socks individually, and then if somebody asks why you are doing that, then, well, just tell the story about the overproduction and that at least 30% of all socks produced worldwide never end up seeing a foot or touching a foot and end up in a landfill or incinerator. Just tickle, make it a nice conversation and tickle the brains of the person asking why you're wearing two different socks. That's part one. And I think that's actually the most important part, because like in an ideal world, if everybody's talking about the overproduction in the fashion industry, then and everybody's saying, well, that's not good, and it's actually madness if you think about it, then if we raise awareness, I hope that brands will take their responsibility and try to reduce the overproduction. And actually, I hope to stop the overproduction. And if they don't, then I hope actually that countries make some legislation on stopping overproduction, like France is actually doing, already making some legislation on overproduction. And it's more now based on food, that you just don't get to destroy food that is still good to eat, but then we get some legislation in. I think that's the major thing. Part two of what I would like people to ask, well, if you need new socks, because of course in the end, if you wear socks, they get tear, they get holes in them, and at one point you can't use them anymore. So you need new socks. Then if you go to our website, sockbysock.org, you can buy socks from us. And the cool thing about that one is that we only sell socks in piles of 5 different socks. So we don't sell pairs. We don't believe in pairs. I just explained. And the socks we sell are socks that we saved. So actually, right now, all across the world, there are socks in warehouses or somewhere down the supply chain on their route to becoming landfill or becoming burned in incinerator. And we source those socks, and we buy them and we resell them in packages of 5 different socks. We call them piles.
It's really cool.
And we want to it's actually, we call them saved socks, and we want to do that as long as we can save socks, because we don't want them to end up in the landfill. And well, that would be great. And then we get some funding also to advocate our purposes more, and to inform a lot more people about these mispractices in the industry. And of course, how more people we can inform, the more we hope the more piles of safe socks we can sell. So the more people we can inform, so the more piles of safe socks we can sell. And actually, in the end, we want to save all socks from being burned uselessly, and that's actually even better, that we can't find any socks anymore that are waiting to be destroyed. because then actually we serve our purpose. Then there's no overproduction anymore.
And then you
it's quite
just
simple.
Yeah, interesting. And do you also have like social media or a hashtag or something to create that movement people can engage with?
Yeah, we're playing around with that somewhat right now. So we have a LinkedIn page, we have a Instagram page, we have a Twitter account, and we use the hashtag sock by sock.
Okay.
It's like sock by sock. We want to improve it. We want to change the world. We want to improve the world.
You should do like a challenge that people can send in a photo of 2 different socks, and the nicest one will win, like socks.
Yeah, but I think that's a good idea, and that's something that we really want to do. So we just started. We started December 7th. So we're now busy almost a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not long.
Yeah, that's not so long. We already got some attention from local Dutch newspapers, and now we also are reaching out to international press, because, like I just said, awareness is the name of our game. So we really want to raise awareness on these topics. And so we just started building our, let's say, fan base or follower base on social media. So that's something we need to pick up a bit more and gain a little bit more attention. And then those things like a challenge, I think that's a very good idea.
No, you're welcome. I have one question though, that's maybe a bit critical, because you say that you look for warehouses and you also have international ambition, and then always the question of shipping comes. Like it's, of course it's good to not waste stuff, but shipping also costs a lot of energy. So
contribute to the
how do you make those kind of decisions?
No, that's very true, and that's something of course that we also discussed. So when I'm painting a picture of an ideal world, we hope that we can get some people like in America, in Australia, and in Asia that are also enthusiastic about this idea, about this movement, because it's a movement where, and they say, okay, I want to start the USA hub, or I want to start the Australian hub. So I want to become Sock by Sock Australia, so that we don't need to ship our socks from Europe, because we're Europe based, from Europe to Australia. That's actually the best idea. So we are open for those. We're open for those discussions, and people are that say, oh, I'm interested. Can't I become a hub in my country? That would be best, because right now we actually to save our first real big batch of socks, we started the Kickstarter. So to get some funding in and to save the first socks. And right now we choose for now to ship across the world. Okay. But also people can donate socks, because I think that's even more crazy. So if you got the time, of course. In Holland, we've got clothing banks. I think you know what they are. The people who are less fortunate, they don't have money to purchase new clothes. They can go to a clothing bank, and actually they can get some clothes over there, so that they still look decent and respectable. And at the Dutch clothing banks, there's a huge shortage of socks.
Oh, really? They have lots of all the other stuff.
Yeah. So, but there's a shortage of socks, and also we also talked to the Salvation Army, and also one of the things that people who don't have a roof above their head are always in need of are good new socks.
Oh, my mom knits socks for homeless people.
But so on one hand we are destroying all these socks. The industry is. I'm not doing it, but the industry is. And on the other hand, we've got this huge demand from people who are less fortunate. And instead of bringing those overproduced socks to them, we destroy them. It's
capitalism. It's sort of like it's seen as a better option to destroy it, because otherwise you're destroying your value or something in monetary terms. But you're destroying the value of the resources.
Yeah, but it's I just can't put my mind around it. It's like if I'm not, but if I was like a big sock selling brand. Oh wow! I couldn't bear it that I would send socks to the landfill instead of
Yeah.
to the Salvation Army. So what we are doing also for people who actually, coming back to your question, why ship them across the world? Well, we rather not. Right now, we still have that. We offer that solution. But another solution, if you're in Australia or somewhere across the world, far from Europe where we are, and you want to support our cause, you can also donate a pile of socks on our Kickstarter right now. Later on, if everything turns out works brilliantly, we also start a web shop. But you can also donate a pile of socks to the clothing bank. So you say, okay, well, good cause. I like the idea of those people, but I don't want them to ship 5 socks to across the world. Then you can also donate a pile of socks to a local chapter of the clothing bank.
Very good. To the cold people.
Yeah.
And it's cold in the Netherlands now. I don't know, not everybody knows that, but it's cold in the Netherlands now, so it's necessary.
Yeah, and if you don't have good socks, you get cold feet. And if you have cold feet, then the rest of your body also gets cold. And if you have good socks, it takes a long while before the rest of your body gets cold. So it's also the funny thing, like why socks? It's everybody in the world, most people, most cultures in the world. I think it's the most common type of garment when it comes to clothes. Mm-hmm. It's being used right spread across the world. That are socks. So there are not so many people that don't have socks.
Yeah, but we don't really think about it because it's just something you wear.
Yeah, but I think it's the most common fashion garment.
Yeah.
Because in underwear you have a lot of varieties, but in socks there's always it's a sock. You don't have. Yeah, of course you have a lot of different manufacturers, but not so many different kind of socks. The sock is a sock.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thanks. Cool.
I hope it will work out, and I'll try to help you as well where I can. And the last question I usually have is, do you have any tips for other people who also want to make a similar impact you are trying to make? Because I have a lot of followers who do similar things, like I do with quilting, and I have people who are like into clothes, and I know a lot of different people. So.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, my best advice is, but then I sound a little bit like a broken record, is just start actually wearing your socks individually, but also try to think about the thought behind it. So don't just throw away stuff which is perfectly fine, but try to make the best use out of it. And for socks, it's easy, just wear them individually. But also, if you have holes in your socks, of course, at first you can try to mend them. But if you pass the mending stage, you can still use it for something else. You can still use it as a filler for a pillow or something else like that. And if you just try to break your own habits and see that and recognize the value of stuff all around your house and try to make the best use out of it, I think that's the best sustainable thing you can do.
Yeah, that's true. Reduce.
Reduce and reuse, and also try to learn yourself to break patterns, because it's quite easy to throw something out.
I would love to try to make a quilt out of socks, because I think it's so very soft. Yeah. So if you can send me some, I will get to it.
I will send you some saved socks, because we do have some saved socks already.
And I prefer colorful.
You prefer colorful, okay. Cool.
But the mix is also good, because I think that's what I do. I try to make people think out of the box in terms of quilting, because we've thought that you can only use cottons and stuff like that, but I don't think so. I think you can decide what kind of fabric you use. The purpose will determine it, because if you make a pillow out of socks, it will be super soft.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking now. So I would like to experiment, but I don't have a lot of socks because I wear the socks I have.
Yeah, that's always the best practice. I will make sure you get some colorful socks, and I'm very curious about how the quilt will look with saved socks.
yeah, I'm trying to make a bit more just concept art about sustainability as well, to make people think about what you can do with things.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see to learn how it will end up.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
That's it for now, unless you want to add something.
I think I've made my case. I hope so. I do hope so. I just want to thank you for also helping me out by making this blog, because, like I said, attention is the name of our game. Raising awareness. So,
yeah, and I think sustainability, we need to work together as well.
Yeah.
It's many people doing different things in different areas. Like you do the socks, so I don't have to worry about socks, and I do quilting, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's cool. So thank you very much.
No problem.
It's very, very cool to discuss my sock movement with you.